On October 27th, 2021, history was made, when popular and beloved YouTube channel Andrewmations uploaded its second video, entitled Why Spring is the Worst Season of All Time Ever in the History of the Universe. It killed my grandma, it killed my dog, it poisoned the water supply, and it drank all my Pepsi, or whatever sort of logic I was using back then. And yeah, obviously it being the second video isn't really all that special other than letting all 10 fans of My Nightmare Teacher Experience know that I had not ceased to exist within the 3 days of not posting. But I bring this up because I've always found the topic of which season is somebody's favorite or least favorite to be quite interesting, which is why we're going to talk about it. And by it, I mean only one season, and by that season, I mean winter because that's the one that's in the title of the video. To address the elephant in the room, it has been a while since I posted, and that's because Chromicus, the evil Chromebook wizard, mercilessly eviscerated FlipClip until it was nigh unusable, and I got, mildly offended, so I got myself an iPad instead. Now, truth be told, I've always been somewhat of a winter apologist, a stance primarily driven by fond memories of living in Tennessee, where even the smallest amount of snow is considered a miracle. For many, the frustration that comes from snow and shoveling and whatnot are enough to turn them off from winter entirely. But I don't think we should disregard this season as a whole based on this one aspect alone. Firstly, because when we're treating this season rating subject with all the deep consideration and thought that it clearly warrants, one can't write off a season based on one aspect entirely. And second, through all of human society's most incredible breakthroughs in technology, so too did we make breakthroughs in the much more important field of cool things to do with snow. You can throw yourself onto the snow and start flailing your body in such a way that it produces what can only charitably be described as an angel. Alternatively, you can throw it at people, and if you don't have friends, you can even make a person. Now, I'll admit, winter isn't necessarily a super nice looking season. The trees are all corpses, and the sky is a wondrous shade of light gray. But you need to understand that when you look outside at night and everything's dark but still overcast, and all the shapes of the street you've come to recognize have been turned into white blobs, that is an incredible feeling. Mostly because it feels like you're living in a liminal space, but whimsical somehow. Maybe? Okay, so maybe snow is significantly less exciting when you're no longer a wide-eyed young lad. But you know what hasn't lost its whimsy? Christmas, or whichever December 25th adjacent holiday you celebrate. Jewish folk may get 8 times the whimsy we do, but the joke's on them because they don't even get to chop down a pine tree from outside and drag it into their own house for decoration, which was a completely normal sentence to me and the other tree-stealing Christians. We even made lore for the holiday that has nothing to do with the lore that Christmas is actually about. But Christmas is still cool, because nothing matches the wholesome spirit of gifting and receiving novelty socks. Really, December as a whole is carried by the commercialized for sure, yet still pleasant holiday atmosphere. Unfortunately, the entirety of November and half of October are also carried by the commercialized for sure, yet still pleasant holiday atmosphere. And it would be nice to celebrate the spooky day without Mariah Carey breathing down my neck. Now, on the other hand, I have comparatively less to say about January and February. I guess I could summarize my feelings on both by admitting I don't like cold. When the weather's too hot, at worst, it can be a mildly painful pinch on the back of your neck. Meanwhile, when it's too cold, it feels like my entire body's getting stabbed, and I can't concentrate on anything because it feels like my entire body's getting stabbed. But I can obviously handle 2 months of unpleasant weather. The problem arises when it becomes 3 months of unpleasant weather. Give it a rest, February. Stop beating this dead horse. And maybe the season wouldn't be prolonged so much if it weren't for that fraud of a hydrophobic beaver. We're a country whose seasonal changing relies entirely on the call of an oversized rodent. Doesn't even recognize his own shadow. So join me and the other cool guys at the February Haters Club, because no amount of plastic candy and unfunny joke cards can distract from your hollow soul. If you didn't also just so happen to be the thing keeping the very concept of time itself from falling apart, you'd be a functionally worthless February. But yeah, with that, I'm glad I revisited the month of winter. It helped me recognize a lot of the things I initially overlooked. But also, it helped me realize how much I was overrating it as a kid. Because growing up is realizing that fall is just way better in every conceivable way.